What up, party people? It's Sushi.
And Ashley. And this week we will be kicking off our March LEPRECHAUN-A-THON with Leprechaun 1 and 2. Then we'll be chatting about the movies K-Pops and Scream 7.
And for TV, we'll be saying bye-bye to Hijack as we recap the season 2 finale, while we also welcome back Monarch Legacy of Monsters and recap its season 2 premiere.
Oh yeah, let's get into it. This is
We Should Pod That, episode 27.
Oh, that was so synchronized. I'm impressed with it.
We should watch that with Ashley and Sushi. Feel the vibes, it's a night so lush.
It's March, and throughout this month, we'll be watching all 8 Leprechaun movies and giving our thoughts on them to celebrate.
Oh yeah. The first week we're talking Leprechaun 1 and 2, and though they may be old, neither myself nor Sushi have seen them till now, but they might turn out to be comedic gold.
Ooh,
Yeah.
nice rhyme.
Yeah, I'm trying to get in the Leprechaun spirit.
Well, you know what'll really get us into the Leprechaun spirit?
Ooh, do tell.
Running that theme music for this special segment.
Oh, yeah.
Raise the right, the horizon. Ashley and Sushi's Leprechaun-A-Thon. All coins drink and the bikes go down. The bad wicked and the goblins back in town. Hey, Leprechaun-A-Thon. The guards of Gondor. It's gone from biggest lights to outer space that kill our marches on. Leprechaun-A-Thon. Leprechaun-A-Thon.
So, guys, Leprechaun, the original 1993 one, opens with this guy, Dan O'Grady, who comes back from Ireland having stolen a pot of gold from an actual leprechaun. The bold choice. So he's limping into his North Dakota farmhouse like, honey, I'm rich. And immediately, the leprechaun just shows up to reclaim his gold. Because obviously you can't just rob a magical creature and think it's going to be fine.
Yeah, right.
You can't. And the leprechaun is fully unhinged from minute one.
Oh, hell yeah.
Well, his gold. That's it. That's the whole motivation.
Yes, there's only focus, yeah. Well, at least in this movie it is.
Yes. He gets an additional focus in the second one.
The next.
So we'll get to. So O'Grady manages to trap the leprechaun in a crate in the basement by putting a 4-leaf clover on it, because I guess that's the one thing that suppresses his magic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're lucky for us, not so lucky for him. In addition to that, he also tries to burn him alive. But I just can't stop giggling with joy talking about these movies. Okay.
It's an absurd movie. So.
Oh my God. But before he can finish the job, he has a heart attack. What are the odds? So the leprechaun is just stuck in the basement for 10 years. Okay. Cut to a decade later, and the Friends' own Jennifer Aniston shows up. So it's baby Jennifer Aniston in one of her first roles playing Tori.
J.A.
Yes. She moves into the same farmhouse with her dad, and she's very fish out of water. She hates it. She does not want to be in this small town. Meanwhile, her dad has hired these 3 guys to repaint the house. And I say guys, but I don't think they're what you're picturing. It's Nathan, an adult man who has his eyes on Jennifer Aniston. His little brother, Alex, who's fully a child. And Ozzy.
Oof.
Before I get into what's interesting about Ozzy, he's played by the bad guy from Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure. So that's kind of fun. And yeah, guys, he appears to have a developmental delay.
That's what they used to call back in the 90s slow.
Oh, yeah. I don't even want to get into what they call
I don't even know what they called it. Was that what they said in the 90s?
Probably. I don't know. But it's like 90s style portrayal of developmental delay.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not at all researched or accurate. No. It's a lot more like
very Boo Radley.
Yes. You know what I think? I think you could take that part of it out and just assume maybe he was hit in the head with something and it went boing and now his brain no good. I feel like that's more the vibe they're going for. So these three dudes, again, these two dudes and a child, go into the basement and they knock the clover off of the crate, accidentally freeing the leprechaun. And from there, hey, baby, it's chaos. Like, it's crazy. So the leprechaun immediately starts hunting down his gold coins, which have been scattered. And he's weirdly polite about it at times. He'll ask for his gold back before murdering you. But if you don't cooperate, he will absolutely kill you in some creative, nasty way. But here's the thing. I like to think of him as just a scamp who likes to have a good time,
He is, because sometimes he doesn't immediately kill you.
No, he's a very playful killer.
Yeah, he likes playing with his food, man.
And actually, you know what? This brings up something that I don't think I've put in my notes, but is important to know. The writer was inspired by the Lucky Charms commercials.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, I want to do that plus critters. So it was originally supposed to be for a kid audience. Then somehow
it makes sense, like how the leprechaun's face looks if they use critters as a basis.
His face looks so crazy.
Gross.
I'm so sorry, Warwick. Okay, so
his real face. I mean,
no, I'm sorry that he had to go through that.
Oh, I'm sure he's fine with it. It seemed like he had a great time.
It did. So our little friend, he kills a shop owner. He kills a cop. There's a pogo stick death. At one point, he's riding around on a tricycle. And I personally love that his fatal flaw is shining shoes. So if he sees a shoe, he's got to shine it.
I like that there's general leprechaun lore that's been introduced into this. You know what I mean? Like, these are things I didn't realize were things with leprechauns.
Yeah.
I appreciate that this movie kind of gives us.
I mean, they may have.
Provides the information. Who knows? It seems real enough.
It seems real enough? Is that your poll quote for the movie Leprechaun 1? Leprechaun 1. It seems real enough.
I'm saying the idea seems real enough as far as it being an actual, mythology thing.
Guys, Sushi believes in leprechauns.
Might.
Okay. Well, moving on. Our buddy also uses illusions and he's rhyming the entire time. And he's sort of like a campy little mean-spirited dude. I don't know. I kind of liked his joie de vivre. And at one point, Ozzy, he swallows one of the gold coins, which is an insane thing. And then it becomes a whole thing because the leprechaun can sense it. And
doesn't he do that, though, because he's trying to test if it's real gold? Like, you can do that by biting it or something?
Yeah, I think so. Again, don't think about it like a real mental condition. Think about it like he was hit in the head with a mallet and it went boink. Okay, so yeah, basically like the leprechaun uses a magical radar for his gold. And meanwhile, Tori goes to visit old Dan O'Grady in a nursing home because she realizes he's the only one who knows how to stop this thing. And he tells her, hey, 4-leaf clover is the key. That's the weakness. It's very specific. It's very botanical. I love it. And so the final act is them scrambling to get another clover while the leprechaun keeps popping up and murdering people. And eventually, Alex sticks a 4-leaf clover onto a piece of gum and shoots it in the leprechaun's mouth with a slingshot, which temporarily strips him of his powers. And then they basically they blow him up by throwing gasoline down a well. And
I love his remains, like his skeletal remains climbing. It looked like a melted clown. I think I have that in my notes, so I'll probably not. I just thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, and as you can tell from the melted clown climbing out, the movie ends with the implication that he's not really gone. And yeah, of course he's not. We got 7 more movies to do, baby. And yeah, the tone's got a weird mix, man. It's goofy, it's low budget, it's very 90s. But the leprechaun himself, played by Warwick Davis, he really commits super hard.
Oh, yeah.
And it works. I mean,
It honestly is like some of the best work I've seen him do. And I'm not saying that to like be funny.
no.
I think it's some of his best work as far as feeling like he's actually really enjoying what he's doing in that moment.
Yeah. I mean, there's an immense amount of fun to like.
Yeah, like I don't think he felt the same doing Willow.
Oh. You know what? I have never seen Willow. It was scary to me as a child. But yeah, this movie is not a prestige horror. It's not elevated. It's just being violent about coins. And it's just
violent about coin.
Yeah. Coin-based violence. It's the rarest kind. And yeah, it's just a tiny, angry, magical man murdering people over stolen gold. And
Oh my God.
honestly, that's kind of a beautiful character motivation,
Right.
really, really unique. So yeah, Sush, what do you think?
Well, I'm just going to go through my list of notes that I have.
Can't wait.
First, I honestly, I have no idea why it took me so long to finally sit down and watch these movies. Maybe it's because I didn't really watch horror films as often as other genres until maybe 2 years ago, but I'm glad we like finally got to these, given how much we've come to enjoy horror comedy and bad horror movies since then. I appreciate the brief backstory. But one thing that was kind of confusing is how the whole 4-leaf clover thing works.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Like, honestly, I don't know if I really care to know the details, but I did find it kind of funny that O'Grady kind of haphazardly picked up the leprechaun and slammed him in the wooden crate without any scratch or bite happening.
Yeah, that was impressive.
So I guess the leprechaun just can't retaliate in any manner when the person also has a 4-leaf clover on them. Also, are we really supposed to believe that within 10 years of this 4-leaf clover, it just doesn't shrivel up and die somehow? I mean, it's not like it's growing in soil. It's literally been plucked out of the ground. So I guess we're supposed to assume they also magically stay alive, even when they're not growing in soil. The tarantula being used as a stand-in for Big Spider was hilarious.
Yeah.
Since I'm pretty sure tarantulas are actually less of a problem to humans than some poisonous spiders are that are much smaller in size. I just thought it was funny because it's still from a time where people don't know that. Because I remember the 90s was like that.
Oh, the 90s.
Not like I've ever been a huge fan of Jennifer Aniston, but I kind of hate her character in this movie. Though I do think she's funny when she irritates the other characters because she's obviously so out of place on a farmhouse in North Dakota.
Yep.
The upside is she's so unlikable that you assume she's going to get murdered in this movie, even though unfortunately it doesn't end up happening. But you kind of do look forward to it kind of happening. You kind of want it to happen. But
Oh my God.
I mean, in the end, it's fine because enough crazy shit happens between that point until the end of the movie that I forgive it. It's hilarious how Jennifer Aniston's character tries to come off as an independent woman, but also wants to be attractive to Nathan, the 90s buff painter guy.
Oh, gross.
He's 90s buff, by the way. I wanted to make that distinction because he's not today buff.
No, today buff is aggressive.
Yeah. Is it true that leprechauns are actually supposed to be shoemakers by trade, or is that just this specific leprechaun's occupation? Regardless, I thought that was an interesting, bit to slip into the movie. And it's funny that I said that because later on I was like, oh, I thought this was going to be a throwaway comment, but goddamn, there's literally a scene with him shining shoes. And then near the end, they throw shoes at him to distract him because he apparently just has to stop to shine them.
Oh my God, Sush. I've got exciting Wikipedia information to share with you.
What?
So, leprechauns are mythical Irish fairy cobblers.
So they are shoemakers.
They're known for tirelessly mending shoes while often wearing green or red clothing with buckled footwear.
Wow.
And their name derives from the Irish leithbrog, meaning one shoemaker.
Wow. Okay, so now we make the connection.
We're learning.
The Wikipedia.
Thank you, Leprechaun.
Anyway, I love the symbolism in this movie as far as the idea that gold can make little men feel powerful. Just kidding. I just enjoy Warwick Davis as a leprechaun that murders.
Yeah, I just
really don't
love
care.
it.
No, I'm not trying to look for symbolism.
Capitalism kills.
But I thought that was kind of funny. Anyway, this is definitely a 90s movie that takes place far from a metropolitan city because there's no way you're utilizing child labor to this degree in or near a major city because this movie takes place in 1993.
Yeah, and it's literally a 3 dudes painting company or something.
Yes, it's 3 guys, who
And
paint.
he's a child.
Yeah.
It's
I don't know, man.
it's one guy, a guy who got boinged on the head, and a child.
But I will admit that around that time, I also did work at my dad's business, I think, when I was like
Oh shit, that's
too
true.
young. So whatever. By the way, in looking into details about the movie, apparently Nathan is the older brother of the kid Alex. We didn't know that when we first watched the movie. I think we're supposed to assume that dumb Ozzy is a family friend, but he comes off as Alex's partner in crime. I know that youths with adult best friends were a thing in the 80s. I mean, it's literally the duo in Back to the Future.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize it also spilled over into the 90s. So that's kind of wacky.
Right?
Oh, it's so wild that Alex has this conversation with Ozzy, implying that they can use the gold to, quote, fix his brain.
Oh my God.
I honestly was like waiting for somebody to use the R word based on where this conversation was heading.
It's just insane to see these things now. Like, you feel like you're in another world.
Yeah, I feel like it's been that long. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was not prepared for the tricycle.
Oh my God. And I have a theory that he's just into various modes of transportation.
Brought this up. I said, also, I'll never hear a bicycle bell the same way ever again. The fact that the Leprechaun utilizes size-appropriate vehicles to get around is absolutely ridiculous. Like, the go-karts were some of the best vehicles I've seen. It's hilarious that the Leprechaun is a pervert.
Oh, yeah.
Like, a wrinkly, creepy-looking little person was enough for his character, but they also wanted to establish that he is perverted by having him feel up on Jennifer Aniston's leg.
Well, I loved that scene because then she yells and is like, I thought it was Nathan feeling up my leg. And her dad's like, what? How do you know what that feels like? She's like, I'm a grown woman. I know what it feels like to have a man feel my leg. And her dad's like, no.
Yeah.
It's death.
I forgot that it was somehow totally normal for some kids in the 90s to tell adults how to do their job. It's probably hilarious, like how Alex walks into the pawn shop and basically tells the guy running it what to do.
He's a real smart aleck.
Yeah. It was also cool to have my first experience watching someone get pogoed to death. That was cool.
Yes.
Were watercress salads with Evian on the side a thing in the 90s? Because that's got to be one of the weirdest and most specific orders I've heard from anyone. And especially one that somebody who was in a diner. Like,
and diet culture was a bitch back then.
So weird. 90s, man. It's like, I think this combination almost feels like the tail end of the 80s kind of dieting.
It does. Yeah.
Oh, I really appreciate that the Leprechaun doesn't always immediately go in for a kill, like I mentioned before. Sometimes he really just mains the victim.
Yeah.
Yeah, before murdering them, which just adds to the hilariousness of this movie as a whole. Another thing about this movie is that they're not afraid to just have the Leprechaun involved in a brawl.
Oh, right.
Yeah. In similar horror movies, I feel like we're often only being shown flashes of the antagonist appearing to execute a kill. In a way, making him seem invincible. But the Leprechaun isn't like that. We legit get a scene where Nathan just repeatedly was punching him. Just amazing. I loved it.
I want to watch one right now.
Oh my God. Whoa. Yeah. He can detach his hand and operate it apart from his body.
Oh my God. I forgot about
that. Was wild. I'm like, what can this guy do?
Wow. Magic.
I know.
Cobbler magic.
I can't believe that 3 guys sent a woman out alone to retrieve the gold.
Oh, I can. You bet your ass I can.
Oh, man. the tail end of this movie is just so goofy. Leprechaun hiding in the cupboard and then pinching Nathan's junk. Who the hell wrote this?
Well, it was the tail end of the 80s, so they might have still been on the cocaine.
Yeah. I love the final kill, even though it obviously didn't actually kill the leprechaun since you've used like 7 other movies. I do find it weird, though, that the leprechaun somehow devolves into what looks like a weird melted clown when he comes into contact with 4-leaf clovers, I guess.
Yeah.
So that was wild. But yeah, that's all I got to say about that. So I'm going to move into my pots of gold, which is an enjoyment rating. We're going to forego the quality rating just because,
Yeah.
I don't really need to say anything about that. I think we've established how these movies are. And my end of the rainbow favorite moment was the scene where the leprechaun is crossing the end of the hallway on a skateboard. And he kind of appears like doing different poses each time he passes by. It happens for like 3 to 4 different poses. It's so absolutely cartoonish.
It's amazing. All right, my end of the rainbow moment is easy. It's when he's at a coin shop and somehow finds a pogo stick out of
No, yeah, the pogo death.
and then hops on this guy's belly. He pogos him to death. And then he says, "You'll bounce back." That's fucking art. That's amazing.
What do you give this for pots of gold?
I gave it 4 pots of out of 5.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to leave some room, I felt like I was the only one movie in. I got to leave some room to be able to give like a 5 at some point because I have a feeling that it's only going to get crazier. He goes to space at one point, and he also is in urban neighborhoods for like 2 of these movies.
I actually went the other way. I was thinking these are probably going to get worse from here on out if it's anything like
Well, I mean, it was just going to be better and crazier.
Right. Well, the thing is I'm really looking forward to the one done by the director of Psycho Gorman.
Oh, right. I think that's Returns, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. But yeah, I hear you. But I had a blast. How many pots of gold you give this?
I gave it a 3.
What? That's so conservative.
Yeah, but I'm making that distinction in terms of this franchise.
Oh, I'm just going with what my heart wants.
That's fine. Yeah. But I have a feeling that I'm really going to enjoy some of the other ones.
Yeah, if I do 2, I might just be like 11 out of 5.
Yeah, you can do something.
We'll see. Yeah, because, the leprechaun's a scamp, and so why should I follow the rules?
All right. Let's move on to Leprechaun 2. What happened in there?
Well, buckle up because, it gets crazier. It does. So it opens Leprechaun 2 in the year 994 on St. Patrick's Day in Ireland, where our little murderous green man is celebrating his 1000th birthday. So apparently the tradition is that on this day, he gets to pick a bride. Ooh. And the rule is insane. So the rule is that if he can make a woman sneeze 3 times without anyone saying, "God bless you," she's magically bound to him.
Damn.
And honestly, the opening's kind of great because he also has this human servant who's he's a slave who he captured years ago when the guy tried to steal his gold. And oh my God, this guy, I swear to fucking God, I'm sorry for the cursing, but I swear to God, he has the worst fake beard I've seen in my entire life. And I did community theater. I did children's theater.
Yeah.
I know bad beards. This looks like they dabbed a couple dots of spirit gum on his face and then just shoved him into a pile of dust bunnies to see what would stick.
Yeah.
Like it was, to say it was patchy doesn't even come close. Okay.
Yeah.
But back to the movie. The leprechaun, he decides that he's going to try to claim this guy's daughter. So she sneezes twice And we're all like, oh no, don't sneeze again. And then the dad manages to yell, God bless you in time and saves her.
Oh, hell yeah.
But the leprechaun, he kills him and is like, I swear that in 1,000 years, I'm going to come back for a descendant of your family.
Damn.
Yeah, that's a commitment. So then cut to Los Angeles, 1994, also St. Patrick's Day. And we meet Bridget, who's very odd, and her boyfriend, Cody. Bridget keeps going on dates with other guys, even though she's dating this dude.
Yeah, kind
She
of.
makes some of the craziest faces ever.
Hell yes.
Oh, I know. When we were watching it, I said to you, this is the kind of girl who would have her Cash App in her dating profile.
Probably would.
Yeah,
One day.
she's like that, but very.
So she'll still stay with Cody.
Oh, of course, of course. It's just about the money, baby.
Yeah.
So Cody, meanwhile, he works for this shady Uncle Morty, who's a drunk.
Oh my
running
God, Morty's great.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. And he's running these incredibly tacky dark side Hollywood death tours in the thing where they put the dead bodies, the vehicles.
Hearst.
Thank you. And I immediately didn't trust Morty because his business practices are very questionable. Basically, Cody rounds people up and then he goes and finds Morty at the bar and begs him to come. And then he drives the people drunk. And the leprechaun eventually shows up in LA, wouldn't you know it? And he starts stealing gold, immediately becomes obsessed with Bridget because she is the descendant he's been waiting for 1,000 years. And the movie really leans into the whole he wants a bride thing in a way that gets creepy, I would say. Yeah, this guy is very creepy. And there's one scene where he's offering her whiskey to loosen her up. I think he uses those words, and it's pretty creepy. So anyway, the kills are extremely, extremely silly. So at one point, he rips a guy's finger off, and the two of us, we screamed. Like, it was so out of the blue. The guy had a gold ring on, so he just rips off the whole finger.
He wasn't expecting it at all.
It was amazing. Another guy gets killed by an espresso machine, which I didn't see coming. Also,
it's the Mad TV dude.
Yes, that's right. And it's the second beverage-related death we discussed.
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. Then there's this moment where Ian, who is the guy that Bridget goes on a date with earlier.
Kind of? I don't know.
Yeah,
It's more like he just gives her a ride home or something.
Yeah, but he thinks it's a date. Yeah, it's very weird. But so Ian has eyes for Bridget.
Yeah.
And the leprechaun somehow uses magic to make him see things that aren't there. And he sees Bridget take off her shirt and show her boobs because it was the 90s and that's what they did.
Yeah.
And then Ian is like, oh, okay. And she's like, come here. And he starts getting closer and closer to the boobs. And it basically looks like he's going to motorboat them.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden you see the leprechaun giggle. And then you see that, in fact, that was an illusion. And he's facing these two, I don't know what.
It's a lawnmower. It's like the underside of a lawnmower.
Underside of a lawnmower.
Yeah.
So the guy sticks his face between the two blades of the other. It was
great.
Oh my God. Okay. I got to calm down. It's so good. So Leprechaun also has all these weird quirks. Like he really hates Canadian whiskey, because he's Irish and he's obsessed with teeth.
Oh yeah.
And then of course he drives around in a tiny go-kart that literally says "Me Gold" on it. It raised so many questions.
It's the second movie where he drives an appropriately sized vehicle.
Yes. But here's the thing. Did he magically conjure it?
Yes, that's actually exactly in my notes. Like, I notes, I'm like,
where did it come from?
When did he get all these go-karts? Yeah. Where does the leprechaun get all these go-karts? Is it from his own collection, or is he just finding and redecorating them before he goes after people?
Well, I guess when you think about it, it's been 1,000 years since we've seen him. he could have easily
He could have
spent a
amassed a
couple
collection of
centuries
go-karts.
in LA and set up a whole like garage full of them. I think maybe he just has go-karts.
I mean, his lair is essentially the TARDIS.
It's
Given like it's literally a tree, but then you go inside and it's gigantic.
I love it. I love this movie, Sushi. Okay, so eventually Cody and Morty try to trap the leprechaun into a wrought iron safe because this movie we get a new thing that he doesn't like. So iron is one of the few things that can hurt him. And Morty then makes the absolutely worst possible decision. And he demands 3 wishes from the leprechaun. Don't fuck with leprechauns. Okay, so his first wish is for the leprechaun's pot of gold, which appears inside of his stomach.
Yes.
It's like his stomach is all like nastily, like distorted and distended in the shape of a pot of gold. Yes. Oh my God. And it keeps expanding. And then he's like, get it out of me. And he's like, okay. And he like rips it out of him. His stomach rips. So, oh my God. It's kind of genius. And then the finale turns into this bizarre magical showdown in the leprechaun's lair, which is full of illusions and tree roots and traps. At one point, Cody realizes if he holds on to the leprechaun's gold coins, the creature can't hurt him, which gives him a fighting chance. But the best twist is that one of the coins Bridget has is actually just chocolate from a St. Patrick's Day candy.
Oh, yeah.
You mentioned earlier in the movie. So anyway, Cody uses it as a distraction, grabs the real gold, stabs the leprechaun with iron, and then the leprechaun explodes. Fully explodes. And
yeah, pieces, man.
But he does. So we don't know how he's going to come back in the next movie. But yeah, it's kind of the perfect ending because this movie is just pure chaotic nonsense. You got your go-karts, you got your magic sneezing rules, belly gold. Yeah, at one point he rubs gold on Bridget's belly. It's horrible. Terrible wishes. You've got creepy wedding plots. This guy just really, really, really wants gold in a girlfriend.
Yeah.
And before I hand it over to you, Sush, I have a couple notes. One is there were some surprising cameos in this. So at the beginning, you see Clint Howard and a woman who I was convinced was Victoria Jackson from SNL until you say it's someone else. It's just some lady who looks like her.
Yep.
But she's in it. And then also Mad TV's Michael McDonald. Sadly, not the singer, but still a nice performance. So those are kind of fun little surprises. There's also a fun moment where he's at this bar, and for St. Patrick's Day, they have all these little people wearing leprechaun costumes. And then they start chanting, "One of us, one of us," which is clearly a nod to Freaks, that classic movie about sideshow performers. So that was hilarious. And yeah, I just really loved, I don't know, man. I really loved it. I want to hear what you think.
Well, I think it's cool that at least so far, each of the Leprechaun movies start with a little bit of Leprechaun lore.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know the thing about the bride. I don't know if that's like a wider Leprechaun mythology thing, or it was just for this movie, but that was kind of interesting. Just like that they came up with the idea too. I thought it was kind of funny. I also find it amusing that the writer seemed to inject a bit more general Leprechaun mythology across the movie, in addition to what was already included in the first movie. Like, I had no idea about the drinking contest thing or wrought iron. And I actually forgot about the whole wishes thing also being a thing with leprechauns and not only genies.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, the character William O'Day's beard is hilarious.
Oh my God, it's disgusting. And
yeah, if you haven't seen this movie or have, but just have forgotten what it looks like, you absolutely owe it to yourself to watch the beginning of it again, just to see how bad it is. If we weren't absolutely sure that the leprechaun was a creep, we hear him talking about the whole bride thing at the beginning and ample bosom.
I hate it.
I love how this leprechaun has a scroll that's like chronicling this dude's entire family tree so he can marry one of his descendants 1,000 years later. Yeah, I thought Dracula held on for a long ass time in the Luc Besson movie. But this is true dedication. It was cool to see a cameo by Clint Howard, Ron Howard's brother, who actually appears in a lot of B horror movies during the part where they're doing the horror tours in this movie. So that was cool. I'm only 2 movies into this franchise, and I'm starting to get the feeling that they have the worst female protagonist. Like Jennifer Aniston's character was awful in the first movie. In this movie, Bridget is just so confusing because you think that she might choose Ian based on that she let him touch her around Cody. And the fact that Ian's willing to take time out of his day to spend time with her while Cody's working, and she seems to be open to the idea at least, but then she doesn't end up doing anything with him and actually reconciles with Cody shortly after. So yeah, that was just weird. I don't know what's the point of having all that was. I can't stand Bridget's face. By that, I mean some of the faces she happens to make in this movie. Like there's a few times where her facial expression doesn't at all fit her mood or what she's seeing in the moment. And it's kind of hilarious.
It is. Yeah, her face is odd. And again, not how she looks. But
and also related to her, oh my God, the whole part where the leprechaun starts talking to her about burying his children is super gross.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Like the detail that he provides is so nasty. Like while he's like touching her and stuff too. Oh man. Yeah. Tony Cox, the Black Little Person actor who's also been in Bad Santa, Friday, a parody movies like Date Movie, Epic Movie, Disaster Movie.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he was a pleasant surprise in this movie. I gotta admit, it was amusing for there to be a scene with a bunch of little people dressed as leprechauns at a party. They're completely unaware that the leprechaun isn't just another little person from the neighborhood. Like you could, they were so drunk that they couldn't make that out. I just thought it was kind of funny. I love that Morty deals with the leprechaun in a manner that seems to fit him the best, which is by challenging him to a drinking contest.
Yep.
I love that he knows that fact about leprechauns and also decides that that's what he's going to use to kind of stop him from getting any further. The espresso bar scene with the dude from Mad TV was great.
God.
The kill was whatever, but I did find all the leprechaun mockery that he was doing to be hilarious.
Yeah.
I gotta say, this movie is definitely way more goofy than the first movie. Especially the 3 wishes part where the leprechaun makes the pot of gold appear in Morty's stomach. That was just so ridiculously, I don't know, there's so much bad creature effects. It's just so funny. The bit with Cody and Bridget running in circles in the leprechaun's lair was fucking hilarious. I honestly just hope that these movies get progressively goofier because I'm totally on board. That was just like a comedy classic move, you know, like we're just running in circles and shit. So I love that. And then to close out my commentary, one of my favorite quotes was "Real milk chocolate, genius." When Cody tricks the leprechaun with a chocolate gold coin. It's a great line.
It was great. Oh.
Yep.
So tell me, I mean, you have so many good moments. What is your end of the rainbow moment?
My end of the rainbow moment is what I just called lawnmower tits. Yeah, I just wrote lawnmower tits kill.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's really the best way to describe it in as few words as possible. But yeah, I like this a lot, like significantly more than the one before.
Oh.
So for the pots of gold enjoyment rating, I gave this a 4 out of 5.
Ooh.
Yeah, this was good.
It was really fun.
It was.
So, okay. So for mine, you know, it's funny. As soon as you said the whole tits thing, now I'm debating if I have the right one. But my end of the rainbow moment was when that fucking pot of gold gets magicked into Morty's belly. Like that shocked me. So that was pretty amazing. But yeah, yours is a good second. You might have had it right on starting lower at the first movie because I had to go up for this one. So I'm at a 4.5 out of 5.
Damn. See, you're already running out of space.
But you know what?
You're going to be hitting 5s consistently for the rest of the fridge.
Hey, a 5 is a 5. They don't have to compete within the 5.
Yeah, I guess
you
that's
know?
true.
But yeah, I just had genuinely so much fun watching.
Yeah, it was
this.
great.
Oh, I can't wait for next week. Okay. Well, top of the podcast segment to you, friends. And
All right, let's move on to the movies for this week, I guess.
okay, let's do it. All right. K-Pops is this unexpectedly sweet, slightly chaotic father-son comedy directed by Anderson .Paak, which already makes it interesting because he's obviously known as a Grammy-winning musician and not a filmmaker. This is his feature directing debut, and you can really feel the kind of scrappy personal energy all over it. He also stars in it as a down-on-his-luck musician who ends up taking a job in South Korea as a drummer in a popular K-pop competition show and discovers that one of the contestants is, dun dun dun, a son he never knew he had. It's pretty great, I have to say.
Yeah. Pleasant surprise.
I know. It's part music movie, part fish out of water comedy. I think there's some semi-autobiographical influence there. And it's grounded by a really great performance by Pac. Then he also is joined by his real-life son, Sol Rashid, along with former K-pop singer Kevin Wu, who also was in the K-pop Demon Hunters. And then you've got community star Yvette Nicole Brown and rapper Dumbfounded rounding out the cast. Yeah. So, okay, I went into K-pops with like a little bit mixed feelings. I really, really love Anderson .Paak. In particular, I'm such a big Silk Sonic fan. I love that album.
Cool.
And like I've seen interviews with him before. I think he's funny and charismatic. He's super talented. And yeah, I like him as a person.
Yeah, he seems like a fun dude.
He really does. But the thing was, like, I didn't know what to expect from him as a filmmaker.
That's true.
And this is his first movie that he's directing, which is like kind of bold.
That's a big deal, man.
It is to come out the gate writing and directing.
Well, yeah. I mean, I understand doing another form of entertainment, but I think the learning curve moving from one medium to the next is very different already.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Like you're changing the whole form of art that you're trying to make. So, yeah.
And then he's acting in it, which is something that has to be challenging to direct yourself. And then he's got his son, you know, but I think it really came together. And I loved hearing about how they came up with the idea. So during COVID, he was spending a lot more time with his family. And his son at the time was really into YouTube and K-pop. And Anderson just sort of started learning about that world. You know, he realized making YouTube videos isn't that different from making a small movie and eventually turned it into this full-length project. So, yeah, I was really rooting for it. And I thought the trailer looked funny, but I wasn't sure how K-pop heavy it would be. I like some Korean rappers, but I'm not super into K-pop.
Right.
And I was a little worried it might lean a little saccharine.
Yeah.
There's definitely a version of this movie that could have felt cheesy, but it's not. I was really pleasantly surprised. I was impressed with the directing. I thought the movie had style. There's some cool visual elements. Pacing works, and the humor really lands, especially some of the callbacks and small character bits. Oh my God. I love this whole bit about that Dumbfounded and Yvette Nicole Brown play off. So she's his mother, and he was the owner of the bar that he worked at and a friend. And every time he calls one of them, the other one's there, you know?
Yeah. They're like BFFs.
Right, they are. But he's sort of like, I don't know, is something inappropriate going on here? I thought it was cool that he doesn't just portray himself as some flawless musical genius. Like, his character was kind of an asshole. He's deeply flawed, especially in the beginning, and ambitious to a fault. At one point, he tells a love interest early on that they're in a polyamorous relationship. It's him, her, and his musical ambitions. Which if someone said that to me, I don't.
Yeah, man, that's kind of messed up. I mean,
I'd be like, all right, goodbye forever.
Yeah.
Which is what happens. And then turns out she was pregnant. But yeah, I liked that. I liked how flawed he was. Like at one point he says, all I ever wanted was to be the biggest star in the world. And he said like with a totally straight face.
Yeah, it's great.
And I think that really tells you what you need to know about this character.
Right.
But he still has nice relationships with his family,
he's still likable.
with his friends. He's still likable. And we see early that relationship with what turns out to be his son's mother doesn't work out because he prioritizes the career. And I thought that was a really smart way to sort of establish who he is before the whole father-son storyline kicks in.
Yeah.
Because we kind of know what the red flags are from the beginning. And it kind of adds a little bit of, I don't want to say suspense, but I did have in the back of my mind the whole time, like, oh God, how's he going to fuck this up? You know? But yeah, I thought once we got to Korea and the competition show, I just loved the father-son dynamic. Even before they know they're related, they have a natural chemistry. And he's learning from his son about K-pop, but he's also schooling him on the music history and all the Black artists that helped shape modern pop music, like Jackson 5. And I thought that was really meaningful. I also think it sort of was a delicate way of commenting on something that I think a lot of critics have noticed about K-pop, which is that it draws a huge influence from Black American artists, you know, through hip hop, even soul, all of that. So it was kind of a nice way of him talking to his son about their shared interests, as well as sort of reminding people that the things you like today have cultural context. And Sol Rashid was awesome. I thought he was really charming, his son. I thought Kevin Wu, who played the top contestant in the show, was really charming and hilarious. There's a moment where they're talking about how handsome he is. And they're like, look, you can't take a bad photo of him. Someone takes a couple candids of him and it looks like it's a magazine cover. You know, I thought that was really funny.
Yeah.
And the side contestants were fun. So his son is part of a group of people who are doing the worst in the competition. And they all had fun little gimmicks. Like one girl does nunchucks while she sings, you know.
This is right.
And yeah, everything, the acting felt really cohesive. And the competition mechanics were pretty cool. It was both hilarious, teasing some of the mechanics of reality TV, but also you could see how impressive these young people are. Young people, God, I sound old saying that, but they are. They're young artists and the choreography was really good. Okay, and I was thinking about why I loved this movie so much.
Yeah.
I think for me, a lot of it is just like a personal connection. So I grew up, you know my dad.
Yeah.
I grew up with a dad who, I mean, both my parents are music fans, but my dad is a massive music fan. He has like encyclopedic knowledge of music, all genres, all countries. You know, he's really into it. And the relationship that Anderson Paak's character and his son have kind of reminded me of what it was like growing up for me. Like when I got into punk rock, my dad was like, here, listen to The Clash, and gave me a record to listen to. When I liked like Red Hot Chili Peppers in middle school, he's like, yeah, they're okay. You should listen to Sly and the Family Stone in Parliament, you know? And that kind of musical education, it really meant a lot to me, a whole lot, and really helped me bond with my dad. So watching those scenes, they're really endearing, really hit me on a personal level.
Nice.
And I think overall, it's just a good time. You know, it's a really joyful movie, which is something that you don't see a ton of lately. I think the way people mess up in this movie or hurt each other, it feels very messy in a real way. And I think for a debut movie, it was really confident. pretty emotionally grounded. I mean, yeah, I thought it was fantastic. So I think it's something that if you're a fan of Anderson .Paak, definitely see it. Music lovers would like it. I don't know for K-pop fans if it would have enough K-pop for them, but I think it really would be something you could watch like even with your family. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I loved it. What'd you think, Sush?
Well, I'm not a huge fan or follower, but I know Anderson .Paak through his various work as a musician.
Mm-hmm.
I also recognized Yvette Nicole Brown, probably through numerous appearances and eventual guest hosting of the Walking Dead after show, Talking Dead.
Right.
And I also recognized Johnny Park, a.k.a. Dumbfounded, from the Quiz Lady movie that Awkwafina was in.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, before seeing this movie, the trailer, for me at least, kind of made it seem corny as fuck. But the premise was still fun enough that I actually wanted to see it. And I do think Anderson .Paak's a good musician overall. And on top of that, like, I just thought it was interesting that they had certain cameos, like, from familiar faces to me. But I wouldn't otherwise really expect to all be in the same movie, like Diplo, Jaden Smith, and I Show Speed. So that was kind of interesting.
Quite the range.
Yeah. So after I saw the movie, I felt that Anderson .Paak did an amazingly good job with the writing, directing, and acting as the character BJ in the movie. I honestly only know of his work as a musician, but looking into this movie, I realized he's also had some cameos and voice acting roles. So that probably explains why it didn't feel at all like this was a movie made by a novice.
Yeah, it really didn't.
Yeah, it feels like somebody who maybe has just been around like the overall production enough to kind of pick up some things. So that was cool. There's no doubt that Anderson .Paak was the star of this movie, but I definitely think that his real life son, Sol Rashid, who also plays his son, Tai Young, in the movie, did a great job and was obviously very believable as his kid.
Yeah.
He is. But I also think that Ji Young Han is BJ's love interest and mother of Tae Young. Yeji did a great job kind of balancing both of those parts of her role. Johnny Park as Cash, the owner of the bar that BJ hosts his karaoke night at, and Yvette Nicole Brown, who plays BJ's mother, who, again, as we mentioned, is like BFFs with Cash. We're great supporting characters. Yeah, and I like how there's always like the running joke of like, are they together or are they just friends? Just all the talent that played the competition on the wild card show were great too. Not only as K-pop performers, but also as actors, since I feel like a lot of them had some pretty funny moments.
Yeah.
So that was cool. Being a movie by Anderson .Paak that has to do with K-pop, I don't believe it'd be a surprise to say that I thought the best design and artistic aspects of this movie were obviously the music, which includes both performed music as well as the score and soundtrack and the dance choreography. So I think those two things, the music and the dance choreography, are probably the best design-wise and art aspects of it. I know Ashley brought this up a few times since we've seen this movie, because we saw it at a special screening followed by a Q&A. But I thought it was funny that most of the viewers were happy to see a movie with so much music from Anderson because of how good his music is. But he admitted that it was probably more due to budgetary reasons why that ended up happening. So I thought that was very funny and also honest of him to
cracked me up.
say that. So I thought it was cool. But you could never tell the difference. I honestly had no idea until he brought it up. I'm like, oh yeah, that's true. That's a good point. But yeah, the trailer made it seem like this is a fun family film that deals heavily with music and cultural connections. And I felt like, you know, it covered pretty much most of the plot. Yeah. And so in seeing the movie, I felt like it was confirmed to be the case. Everything pretty much that you saw in the trailer did pan out the way it kind of was shown. However, I do feel like the movie kind of shines due to how genuine it is and how good the overall quality of the end product was. I think maybe a part of me is so used to seeing fairly meh films enacting by otherwise great musicians that I assumed this would be another movie by a musician that's kind of whatever.
I was
But
nervous.
this actually ended up being a fairly memorable experience. Going into my ratings for enjoyment, I gave this a 4. And for quality, I also gave this a 4.
Wow.
Overall, I honestly think most people that enjoy Anderson .Paak's music, K-pop, or enjoy just more genuine feeling live action family movies will really enjoy this movie.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even a big fan of any of those aforementioned categories, and I really ended up liking it.
It's great.
The musical and dance aspects were obviously enjoyable to me, being a lover of both in general. But I honestly think that this movie was even more enjoyable because it was just fun. It's hilarious in a silly yet sweet way. And I think it did a great job balancing things like toilet humor and tender, heartfelt family moments and romantic moments. So this really was one of those rare movies I really feel like you can sit down and watch with any random group of people as long as they have some kind of experience with popular music from like over the past, I don't know, 50 to 60 years.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the quality was great. Again, I wasn't too worried about the music and dance aspects. So really the high quality score here was more due to how a movie was outside of those things. The actors delivered the characters this movie needed that were genuine and likable. The story was interesting, but not too serious or silly. Just something that was believable, but maybe leaned a little crazy. It's kind of funny how unserious it seemed like this movie took itself, because it's almost like in doing that, but delivering such a great end product, it kind of elevated the overall quality for me. So if you like this movie after you see it, but maybe you're looking for something that's a little bit more edgy and adult, I guess, that deals with music and musicians and performance, maybe check out The Moment with Charlie XCX. We saw it and we're planning on reviewing it, but we didn't end up doing it. But I did want to at least bring it up because of how much I also loved it and how it kind of connects to the same type of movie. Like this one, though, yeah, it's an unusual situation, again, where a musician has done a great job with a film when it's like, I don't know, my general expectations for movies that are made by musicians is kind of low. So yeah, check that out.
Yeah, absolutely. And for my ratings, I gave it a 4 for enjoyment. As you can tell, I very much enjoyed it. And I think sort of going to what you're saying, what makes it different is it's just done so well. You know?
And it doesn't really need to be.
And it doesn't need to be. The writing's nice. I also was thinking about The Moment going into this because whenever I see a movie from a musician and they're acting, I don't expect them to be genius at acting. They're already genius in one other thing, So, and I think I can be somewhat forgiving with those performances. But with The Moment and with this, it's a genuinely good performance, like you would expect from an actor who works all the time.
True.
So that was great. The writing was great. And yeah, like you're saying, it sort of touches on comedy. You've got drama, you've got relationship, you've got coming of age. So I hate to say it has something for everyone because it sounds like a cliche, but I really think it does.
No, it really does. I think it does.
Yeah.
I think it's at least has some aspect of it that can appeal to you, even if you're not a music person. I know that if you are, I think it'll be a lot more enjoyable to you. But I think that even without that, if you enjoy any form of like entertainment, I'm pretty sure you can find something.
Yeah, it was great. And for quality, I also gave it a 4.
Cool.
So I think that they did just such a good job. I mean, it's just the script was great. The acting's great. I love when each character has their own fun little moment. They've got that. And that they did it with a budget. And actually, that leads me into my last point. Go see this in a theater. It's playing at, I think the deal is, it might only be AMC's.
Oh, okay.
But check your local theater. You have a kid, see it with your kid. See it with a friend. See it with your parents.
See it with your friends. If you like music, see it with your music friends. You'll definitely have a good time.
Absolutely. So really loved it. And We got a quality entertainment winner here.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Excellent. Okay, let's talk about our next movie. So Scream 7 brings Ghostface back because, of course. And this time it's under the direction of Kevin Williamson, who actually wrote the original Scream in 1996.
All right.
The film sees Neve Campbell returning as Sidney Prescott alongside familiar faces from the newer generation as Ghostface once again turns a fresh cast of horror-illiterate victims into targets in a murder spree that's as meta as it is bloody. And at this point, the movie isn't about surviving the killer in a mask. It's about surviving the legacy of a franchise where we know all the rules and still finding ways to shock and entertain us anyway. So, okay, I hadn't seen anything past Scream 2.
Yeah.
So I am not a Scream completist. We were going to try to watch all of them, but time got away from us. So we watched some recap videos to get caught up. I knew going into it that Neve Campbell was back, and I know that some reviewers that I trust liked the more recent movies. But otherwise, I wasn't really coming in with strong expectations. From the trailer, I was expecting the classic Scream meta horror commentary, callbacks to the originals, etc. But yeah, I was feeling cautiously optimistic and also just wondering how much more they could really do given that they've been doing this for so long. And I have to say, I enjoyed it. I mean, my first impression, honestly, was that the pacing was good. So I kept thinking, oh my God, how have there been this many insane murder scenes and we're only 20 minutes in? You know, and then 30 and then 45. It really felt like things just kept coming. You know, it understood what the audience was there for and just delivered, especially on those kills. I think cast-wise, the movie continued what I think it does well, which is a good ensemble cast. I love Neve Campbell. She's great. Love to see her. I liked the returning cast, who, again, I won't say who they are. And I really liked the younger cast a ton. Isabella May plays Sydney's daughter, and I thought she had a really cool, confident screen presence. I love Jasmine Savoy Brown as Mindy. She kind of cracked me up. And okay, this is the one old cast member I'll mention. Courtney Cox was also there as Gail, the reporter, because I've always loved her. I think she's so arch.
I think she might have been in the trailer anyway, or like one of the trailers.
She was. So it's not a spoiler. Then you've got Joel McHale's playing Sydney's husband. And of course, McKenna Grace is in it because she is in literally everything.
Nowadays, yeah.
I looked it up, Sush.
Yeah.
She has 77 credits in IMDb and she's 20 years old.
Jesus. How many from this year?
Oh, that I don't know. But yeah, I hope she's doing okay. Don't go too crazy, McKenna.
Yeah, no. Last year was crazy for her.
That's
she was
true.
at least in like 4 different movies.
Oh my God.
And who knows what else.
Poor young actors.
All the press.
But yeah, and I think visually the movie looked really good. We recently rewatched the original, and both of us were really surprised by how muted and subdued the coloring was. We actually checked to make sure the TV settings were correct. It was that like muted and gray looking.
Yeah.
And I think this one felt sharper and had some scenes that visually really stood out. For example, I won't tell you the context of it, but there is a scene where there's a character in part of a building where construction's being done, and there's just plastic sheeting everywhere. It's like moving in the wind, and you just know, oh my God, Ghostface is going to jump out from somewhere.
Right.
And I love that. And it's one of those things where I was constantly looking for Ghostface in the background, like everywhere, all of the time.
Yeah.
Every shadow, I'm like, he's going to be there. But nonetheless, it still got me. I mean, I think I like yelled a couple times. I was so surprised. So they still got it. And in terms of the genre and franchise conversation, I don't think it quite hits the highs of something like Final Destination, which we saw last year and really loved. But Scream 7's still entertaining. It's funny. It's gross. It has some shock. it does what it sets out to do. There were definitely some logic issues that I can't quite get into because of spoilers. Nothing too crazy, though. But my one specific issue I have, and Sush knows this because I overreacted to it. So the Indonesian action movies, The Raid and The Raid 2, are in my top 5 movies of all time. The Raid 2 is probably my favorite movie. And there's a really iconic scene in it where one of the characters is hiding in an empty space between like a wall and like the foundation of the building. And someone is stabbing through the wall. And they
that was in the trailer, so we're not spoiling.
It was in the trailer, so it's not spoiling. So I think of that as one of the most known scenes from The Raid.
Yeah.
And I was kind of annoyed that they did it in this movie because this is a movie that nods to his references all the time. I know, guys, I promise you this movie is well known if you haven't heard of it. It is well known. But
I'm not doubting that. My thing was just that I questioned whether the director knew.
If you direct movies in genre in Hollywood, you're going to know the Raid movies.
Okay.
I promise you. You would not have John Wick if you didn't have the Raid.
Yeah, that's true.
Or at least you didn't have it at that level.
I'm just saying that this person has been doing primarily horror films, though.
Yeah. I'm going to track him down and find out. Get an apology.
Yeah, all I noted direction-wise was that Kevin Williamson has mostly worked on horror films and actually teen shows from the late 90s. So it's almost like that crossover of he's probably good at writing stories with young people in them.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And I guess my last thing before I hand over to you is there's some really fun kills, like really good ones. So, okay, here's what I'll say. Dual shooters and the aftermath. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
So when you see the movie, you will see and know what I'm talking about. So much blood. Okay. Then the other thing I'm going to say is that there's another kill that involves beer. And it's fantastic.
That one was good too.
I'll leave the details for you to find out when you see it. But those two really, like, we were howling. It was great. So, yeah. And what do you think of the movie, Sush?
Well, first, I just want to establish that I don't have any loyalty to the Scream franchise whatsoever.
Yeah.
As I've only seen the first movie leading up to this one. And admittedly, only as a failed attempt to try to watch all the older Scream movies before I saw the most recent theatrical release.
1/7.
I did that for Final Destination, but I think those were an easy watch because you're always waiting for the next death.
Yeah.
Scream was a little more complicated than that. But yeah, otherwise, I have some very general, superficial knowledge about the Scream franchise. I watched a few YouTube recaps on the franchise, and I mostly know the actors from older Scream movies since they were all fairly common Hollywood stars for and from my generation.
Yeah.
Also, I didn't have awareness of Kevin Williamson by name, but like I mentioned, after looking him up, I found that I've watched some of his other movies that he wrote, like The Faculty.
Oh,
and the original I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Oh my God, those are two fun movies.
Yeah, and he's worked on some TV shows I watched as a teen and young adult, so I guess that was cool to find out. As far as the trailer goes, nothing really stood out for me aside from the fact that the movie involved Sydney Evans, Neve Campbell's character in the franchise, and now her daughter. But I honestly didn't even know who was in the trailer aside from the older actors.
Oh, cool.
And I didn't watch any of the content to do with the new movie, apart from maybe things that were mentioned in like the recap videos. So yeah, not that much context. But after seeing the movie, I feel like as far as personal experience goes, I really only had context, like I said, from the first Scream movie. So I can't really say how the direction or writing compares to movies 2 through 6. But I at least felt like there were quite a lot of callbacks to the first movie. You know, obviously makes sense knowing that it's the same person who wrote the first movie. I don't know if there was a good variety of callbacks from the other movies as well, but in a way, this movie very much had the feel of like a 90s young adult horror thriller movie franchise film. Like, one thing I will say about the movie is that it does reflect, and I suppose comments on some modern trends in pop culture and society, which I thought was kind of corny. But then again, I suppose the previous Scream films at least were a reflection and commentary on horror movies and maybe film in general from their time.
Mm-hmm.
So this is probably just more of a personal nitpick because I'm old and I've seen this type of stuff repeated over the years.
Right.
I think this movie had a great cast, but what I kind of appreciated is that they didn't utilize too much of the returning characters so heavily that they overshadowed the newer cast. I think Nev Campbell and Courtney Cox did a great job bringing their characters back. But I honestly think that introducing Sydney's family in the modern day was a good move to kind of extend the life of the franchise. And also felt like Joel McHale as Sydney's husband, Mark, and Isabel May as their daughter, Tatum, were great new additions, as well as all the actors that played Tatum's friends and classmates. I thought the design elements in this movie were up to par for a big studio franchise movie. The VFX, costumes, and other design aspects were fine. They didn't take you out of the moment in a good or bad way, but did their job and didn't take too much attention away from like the story or the acting. Remember that in saying this, I really only have firsthand context for the first Scream movie, but I feel like this movie felt way less serious than the first Scream movie.
Yeah, I would agree.
I don't know if the franchise has become gradually less serious and more self-aware over the years, but I kind of enjoyed that aspect of this since I feel like the Scream franchise isn't as campy as something like Final Destination. But maybe just the idea of these types of killings that all share like the Ghostface commonality going on for as long as they have, I feel kind of needs to take itself less seriously in order to proceed.
Yeah.
For so long. Going into my ratings for enjoyment, I give this a 3.5. And for quality, I give this a 3. Overall, I thought the movie is pretty entertaining and kind of did make me want to go back and watch Scream 2 through 6.
Ooh, I'm down.
I think most of my enjoyment was due to how fun and unserious most of this movie was. Like what I felt were obvious misdirects and hilariously absurd kills. That was where most of the enjoyment was for me. I also appreciated that I didn't exactly have to really be familiar with the previous movies in the franchise to enjoy this movie.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, however, I do feel like at least seeing the first movie probably gave me enough context that I could at least like assume what's happened to the returning characters since then.
Yeah.
Quality, well, as I said before, I don't think it stood out too much for better or worse. I think the overall quality of this movie was where I felt it made sense for it to be. For example, I think the movie did a good job with the VFX and practical effects for some of the more graphic kills in the movie because I didn't feel like they looked fake.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, but they knew when to do an off-camera or shadow kill.
Yeah. Shadow kill.
I gave the movie, however, I did give the movie half a point above a middle score of 2.5, since I think it's just impressive that any movie franchise that has made it to the 7th offering and still manages to do anything that feels anywhere near fresh this far into its history deserves that at least.
Yeah. Excellent.
And this isn't a spoiler, and I don't know if this is the case since I haven't seen the movie, but maybe seeing Scream 6 would have provided some context since I guess Nev Campbell's character wasn't in that one. I don't know, but it seemed like some of the characters were at least written to give her grief or at least bring up her not being around for the events of the 6th movie. So that was like one thing that I kind of was like, oh, maybe I should have seen that.
Well, I thought it was kind of shitty, actually, that they kept talking about that because it's really well known publicly that the reason she wasn't in the last movie was because of contract negotiations, salary negotiations.
Okay. I wasn't.
So it feels like, wow, you didn't pay her enough and then you want to make her feel bad about it in the next movie. Okay. Yeah. But you know me, I'm always
I did think that was kind of weird. I'm just like, why would, they just keep bringing that up? Like, couldn't use you in the, like, okay, but.
Yeah. And the last movie, there's also some characters missing in this movie, who were fired from the last one due to like political comments. So the last movie had a lot of
okay. So there were a
about
lot of
Palestine.
changes. But
Yeah.
Okay.
But there was a lot of talk about the last movie, more about stuff around it, I think, than the movie itself.
Interesting. Okay.
I can't recall if it's the last one or the previous one, but I know that a director I like, the guy who did Freaky and Happy Death Day, I believe, was involved.
Oh, okay.
So I definitely want to go back and see those.
Okay.
Cool. So for my ratings here, I also gave it a 3.5 for enjoyment.
Cool.
I think, hey, it's not curing cancer. It's not the newest. It's not new at all,
Yeah.
But they did it well. It's a movie that's meant to get a reaction from you.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I had multiple genuine jumping in my seat moments. I laughed, I reacted, and that's what this movie's made for.
Yeah.
For quality, I gave it a 3.5 as well.
Nice.
I think quality-wise, there's some shaky plotting and some logic leaps, especially in the third act. But the direction keeps it moving fast enough that you really don't dwell on that too long. And I think that in the first movie, at least, there's a lot of buildup to who Ghostface is going to be. I kind of didn't care in this movie. I was just kind of along for the ride. That was what I really enjoyed, is just the humor and the acting and the gore. So yeah, if you're a Scream fan, I think you'll have a good time with this one. It's not probably top tier, but I think it was good. I think if you like, horror with strong pacing and creative kills, yeah, it's worth it to see. So that is Scream 7. God, I wonder how many more they're going to do. 7 is so many already.
That is, yeah.
But I guess we'll see.
Yep.
Excellent. All right, let's move on to television. So, Sushi, what do we have going on with television?
Well, Monarch, Legacy of Monsters is back. Those are some big monsters. I think that's the lyrics to the song. I don't know.
I think so. We've been singing it all week.
Yeah, but kicking off with the second season. The episode title is Cause and Effect.
Okay.
Just want to give an overview on how I'm going to do these recaps too. First, I'm not going to recap any season 1 because I feel like MonsterVerse movies and this TV show don't do a lot of hand-holding. At least now they don't.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so chances are you're a MonsterVerse fan or don't care to know detailed lore and prefer to just watch huge monsters fight each other. So yeah. Next, because the series has been split across like a flashback and a modern day storyline so far, that's how I'm going to be structuring the recaps. I'm just going to split them in half. Part of it'll be dealing with the flashback, and then the other one will deal with the modern day storyline. I'm going to start off with whichever one actually starts in the episode, and I'm going to do this ongoing for this season unless there's like another storyline.
Oh my God.
Or one of them's admitted, or there's a request by listeners to like recap way differently. So with that said, this episode kicks off with the modern day storyline. Kong attacks the Monarch base. The team escapes by helicopter as Kong watches them leave angrily.
He has a lot of tude.
Yeah, he does. Keiko wakes up aboard Monarch ship Outpost 18. She panics a bit, trying to find Hiroshi, but soon reunites with him. Tim gives Verdugo a casualty report from Kong's attack on the island. She blames the team, while Tim insists that they're not responsible and Kong was just defending his island.
Yeah, man.
Kate, Keiko, Hiroshi, Kentaro, and May are being detained in a conference room. Eventually, Verdugo steps in, introduces herself to Keiko as the deputy director of Monarch, and noticing Keiko's slow recovery, mentions that it's actually due to long exposure to Axis Mundi, which, as a reminder, is that area between Earth and Hollow Earth. Moving on, Monarch refuses to mount a rescue effort for Shaw, causing conflict. Keiko collapses after pleading for his rescue.
That was rough.
Yeah. Kate becomes determined to save Shaw despite Monarch's orders. Hiroshi tries to talk her out of it, but ultimately ends up agreeing to help her. Brenda attempts to recruit May to work for Apex, but May is able to see past the facade to realize that Brenda is more interested in her code rather than her actual well-being.
Damn.
Yeah, Kate convinces May to assist in the rescue, and the group secretly steals a boat and returns to the island. On the island, they race against a closing storm wall and evade dangerous creatures, including Kong himself. He's taking a nap and stuff, and they got to sneak past them. Keiko is viewing security footage with Verdugo, and Tim realizes that Kong may be protecting the island from a bug creature that they find in the recording. The rescue team finds the portal pod, but it must restore power to the portal machine. So Kentaro and May activate the backup generators after having some close encounters with a monster.
Close encounters of the monster kind.
Yeah, for sure. Monarch discovers the stolen boat. So Verdugo and a team fly back to the island to stop them. Meanwhile, Kate confronts Hiroshi about abandoning her family, and tensions between them escalate. Verdugo, Tim, and Keiko arrive at the island to get the rescue team off the island. Despite warnings, Kate activates the portal to save Shaw, awakening Kong. In Axis Mundi, we see that Shaw survived. So he runs and he reaches the pod once he sees it. And then he escapes just as he sees like a massive Titan pass through the portal. So he just follows it out. The Titan emerges on the island, seemingly killing Verdugo in the chaos as he whips its tentacles around.
Yep.
And then we see Kong pursuing the Titan, and as it heads into the water, it turns back a couple times to give the humans some frustrated looks. As he basically is like, damn, I gotta go clean up your mess now.
Yeah.
All right. So for the flashback timeline, we're actually brought into it as we transition from the modern day timeline when Keiko collapses in the Outpost 18 conference room. And that transitions into a scene where we see her snuggling up with Bill on a boat. It's shown to us that they're in 1957. Keiko, Bill, and Shaw are arriving by boat to Santa Soledad in southern Chile in order to investigate some reports of sea creatures. That's kind of funny because the captain of the boat they hired abandons them immediately after dropping them off because they're just like openly having a discussion about monsters and stuff.
Yeah,
and
really.
He doesn't realize it initially, but then he like catches on to
He's like, something's
what the
going on
discussion's
here.
about. So yeah, it was kind of funny. They explore what appears to be a ghost town and notice a sealed well marked with strange symbols and what looks like blood.
I love it.
Yeah, very ominous. Inside the saloon that they see in the city center, Bill fixates on a mounted sea creature on the wall. He attempts to photograph it, but that leads to a confrontation with a local named Tomas. Fortunately, tensions are diffused between them when the bartender intervenes. She returns Bill's camera to him and then warns him not to take photos, which they agree to. Later the evening in the saloon, the trio notices that the townspeople are still really uneasy and unwelcoming, which prompts Shaw to urge them to leave. But the bartender, Lucia, asks Bill to dance. In reality, she's using the opportunity to learn why the three of them are in town. While this is happening, Shaw and Keiko privately acknowledge some unresolved feelings for each other, despite Keiko's relationship with Bill. Lucia reveals to Bill that the town protects a sea creature that provides food in exchange for secrecy of its existence. Lucia warns the group that they're not safe and offers to help them leave, but Keiko persuades her to show them the truth of what's going on first.
Lucia leads them into some caves that contain some fossils. And then they see some paintings depicting an annual ritual honoring the sea creature as a god that blesses the waters and helps to sustain the town and provides for them in exchange for them just kind of keeping the secret of its existence. So, Ashley, what do you think?
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm glad it's back. I love monsters. They're fun.
Yeah.
So, one thing that stood out to me right away is how wild Kiko's situation is. From her perspective, she's only been gone for a short time. She comes back. Her son's now older than her.
Mm-hmm.
And that's insane enough to wrap your head around. But then on top of that, she basically has like the time-space version of the bends.
Yes. I
And
think I even referred to it as that in my notes.
Yeah, exactly. And then Shaw, who's like her friend, coworker, crush, whatever, is back in the place that she's so happy she escaped from. There's so much going on. And I also think that she's in an exciting position because she's so influential to the creation and all the people in Monarch.
I think that's cool.
So I'm excited to see what her role is going to be in the current day. And I think this episode had some cool world building moments. Like I really loved where they went into the bar in that town in the past where they have those weird, I thought they looked like a Pokemon type sea creature. I don't know.
I thought it looked like a trilobite or something like that.
Ooh, yeah.
Well, a cross between like
Pokemon.
that or like a bug, like sea bug.
Yeah, they're so wild.
Sand flea.
Yeah, so it was cool to see that things like that really exist.
Yeah.
And then when they ask the locals about it, they react like, huh? What are you talking about? You know what it reminded me of is in the Zack Snyder version of Justice League.
Yes, it reminded me of the Aquaman.
Yes. Oh, 100%, it's Aquaman. That's right.
Definitely.
And it's like, oh my God, I loved it. And I liked the reveal that the people in this town worship these creatures and are dedicated to protecting them, which makes so much sense. In a world where there are literal monsters, crazy shit,
of
obviously
course people will be worshiping
people will
some people
worship them.
Yeah.
I can see how someone would think that's a god or a devil or what, it's something that's outside of our reality. Yeah. So I thought that was really interesting. Of course, the downside is that their gods sometimes smash people, Well, I guess this one doesn't smash, but, creature-wise, I really liked the electricity raptor titan thing.
Oh, yeah. That one was fun.
I don't know what that thing is called, but it ruled.
Yeah, it's like a bird kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was a flying monster that shoots electricity out of its mouth.
Loving it. I love it. I liked the scene with Tim from Monarch talking with Keiko. He's basically cool. Like, we worship you. You're our founder.
Yeah, he's fanboying the fuck out.
He really is. He is geeking hard. Yeah. And the organization's become really focused on data and analysis.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that burns. That makes me think of so many things that I do at work. But Keiko represents like the curiosity and exploration that Monarch originally stood for.
Right.
And so, I'm excited to see how she's going to step up. Then I liked the scene with Hiroshi and Kate. Yes, we talked about this scene off camera. I was like, boy, that's really bad timing, to talk about. And yes, it is on the one hand, but on the other hand, this is someone who Kate was.
Yeah, she put everything on hold.
She did. And beyond that, when she needed her father the most, when Godzilla first came, unearthed himself, I don't know what you call how he showed up. But when Godzilla first showed up and she was trying to protect the kids she was watching last season on the school bus, some of them didn't make it. She needed her family and her dad just disappeared. She thought he's dead. Then it turns out he's got his second family.
Oh, and he's involved in all this shit. So it's like.
Yeah. And then there's monsters for real. And he's involved. You know, I'm sure she has been every night thinking of the conversation she's going to have with her father.
Yeah.
You know, when she gets
it still
the chance
didn't happen, really.
It still didn't. But I think she did a nice performance and I liked the writing. And I really liked the way Hiroshi dealt with it. He doesn't try to manipulate the situation in his favor. You know, he's surprisingly honest. When she asks, how can you love two people at the same time? He's like, that's not something you decide.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
When she asks him what he was thinking, he literally says, I wasn't thinking.
Yeah.
And it's blunt and it felt real. And I thought it was nice acting and writing there. Oh, okay. My favorite moment of the whole episode is a small one. It's in the flashback scene where Lee, Bill, and Kiko are walking with the local to see the place where they worship those bug titans.
Mhm.
And they look up and the moon looks strange. The night sky looks strange. Cool. And they have this quick exchange that when they first said it, I thought, oh, I like that. And then I thought a little harder and it's more meaningful than I expected. So they're looking up and Lee says about the sky, it feels ominous. Bill says, maybe fortuitous. And then Kiko says, it's beautiful.
That really does illustrate their view. They're like the lens that they see a lot of things in.
Yeah, I thought that was like really good writing and a nice performance. And that it's, you know, Lee sees danger, Bill sees opportunity, Kiko sees like wonder. And it was awesome to see those ideas distilled down really perfectly. Yeah, and overall, I thought it was a solid episode. Expands the world a little bit, gives you some cool monster moments, sets up the character dynamics. That's probably my favorite part, is the various stuff like that. And and there's some badass monsters. So sign me up. I'm looking forward to the season.
Nice. Yeah, I really appreciated how Apple TV was just like, yo, let's make sure to remind people how good this show looks right out the gate and have a bunch of commotion as everyone evacuates and the camera does a close-up on King Kong.
It was cool.
I'm like, God damn, he is very detailed and he looks good and they're not trying to hide that shit in the dark, man.
Yeah.
They're really trying to let you see his face.
You got those good computers to make stuff.
Exactly. You got the Mac Pros at work. It's kind of wild how the organization Monarch is low-key a family business built on a legacy of choosing to chase after giant monsters over being a responsible parent.
Oh my God.
Am I wrong in thinking this?
Oh, you're 100% right. Damn.
I mean, Keiko and Hiroshi were both kind of absentee parents or at best emotionally distant, right?
Oh my God.
It's just funny that I put together.
Is this about generational trauma?
It maybe is. I mean, it does include Asians in it. So
oh my God.
It's kind of a thing that, you know, is pretty common for us.
Oh my God.
What's also wild is when they're showing the flashback scenes, how we find that they don't tell the people who are operating the boats that they're asking to be taken to places to look for giant monsters, but they decide to just casually have a conversation about them while being taken. Like, why? Why do you do this?
They're just in their own
trying
world.
to just do their job.
God.
Call me an asshole, but man, I honestly don't think if I were in these people's position that I'd be thinking of going back to save Shaw. Honestly, I don't really think finding Keiko and having everyone except Shaw make it back like they did was something simple. So I'd probably be pretty doubtful that we get that lucky again with another rescue attempt. Like,
and he did tell them to go. He did choose to stay. It wasn't, Yeah,
but I'm glad, though, that I feel like the writers knew that this would be an argument some people would make. So they made sure to show a quick flashback of Kate being rescued by Shaw. That's very emotional. So we can at least understand why she feels so strongly about following through with the rescue. Because up until that point, we're kind of siding with the other people because, you know, the situation is not great.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not mad at the decision to rescue Shaw because it gave us an excuse to revisit the island and see giant monsters again.
Monsters.
But I honestly have to laugh at how we pretty much burned half an episode on it when we could have just had him make it out with the rest of the group at the end of last season.
Oh, yeah, true.
I don't get how Monarch as an organization could be somewhat good at keeping secrets about giant monsters, but can't for the life of them prevent 4 people from sneaking off a ship.
Oh, I know.
People on a vessel.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah.
I swear that Kate is the worst when it comes to being reasonable. First, she goes off on Kentaro about how they need to go rescue Shaw with zero evidence that he's still alive.
Yeah,
Then
true.
later, she presses Hiroshi over his secret family when they need to work on getting that fucking ship moving so they can hurry up and rescue Shaw already. Jesus, man. That boar monster that Shaw encountered in the forest in Axis Mundi was so awesome looking.
Yeah.
If you get a chance and you haven't seen the episode yet, make sure you see it for that spot. It's one of the coolest creatures that we've seen so far, in my opinion. I love how it looked like it's like fused together with the forest because its horns are like tree branches. Very cool. Ultimately, I enjoyed the episode because they did save Shaw within the episode.
Yeah, I like that too.
But I really appreciated that they also didn't allow Kate to get away scot-free with her decision to go through with this rescue by having the portal also allow the tentacled monster through. I guess they're calling it Titan X.
Yeah.
Literally,
Makes me
Kate
think
was
of Wolverine X.
Yeah. Well, that's Weapon X, actually.
Oh, shit.
I
Okay.
have to correct you on that.
Okay.
You know.
I apologize to the Marvel.
Okay. To the Marvel.
The marvelous Mr. Marvel.
Yes. But yeah, literally, Kate was responsible for them even having to deal with most of the stuff in this episode. So while I think her character is a pain in the ass, I also think it's slightly amusing that it's a driver for having to go places and deal with cool looking giant monsters. Given the most recent Apple TV offerings, The Last Frontier and Hijack, pretty much have only given me scenery to watch in 4K. A part of me is really enjoying the opportunity to watch giant monsters in ultra high definition again.
Yeah.
I kind of found Verdugo's death a bit amusing, mostly because she positions herself to be this boss lady earlier in the series.
Yeah.
And then in this episode, she has the same attitude when she confronts Keiko, even with the knowledge that Keiko started the organization. And I like that they made it a point to have Tim praise Keiko so much in this episode that honestly, I don't think it was a mistake that they had that contrast before having her killed off by Titan X. I think it literally is a setup to eventually allow Keiko to kind of take things over again.
Yeah.
Yeah. And last thing, I honestly don't know what the story arc for this season is going to be, since this episode was more capping off everything that happened at the end of last season.
Oh, true.
So I just hope that we make some progress in the next episode as far as giving us an idea what we're going to be covering this season.
Yeah.
I really didn't spend a lot of time watching trailers or other preview content for season 2.
Yeah, I didn't either.
But yeah, that's it for Monarch Legacy of Monsters for this week. Let's move on.
All right. So what we got going on for our big season finale of Hijack?
So the season 2 season finale, Terminal. Before I get into it, just a heads up, the summary probably will be a bit shorter than the previous ones, but it's mostly down to there not actually being a lot of events that are taking place as everything is wrapping up. Even though later you'll probably realize this definitely wasn't my favorite episode. I think it's worth the time spent watching it for closure for the season, as well as some great acting and dialogue from our leads.
Yeah.
So with that said, get into it. We start the episode off with Beck interrogating Marco after arresting him on his flight at the end of last episode. But Marco refuses to name his employer, believing that the person behind the bombing is truly evil. So that was kind of ominous. Sam hears Marsha's recorded message because Olivia plays it for him while he's still on the train, basically just to confirm that she's still alive. But despite this, Sam insists on continuing with the handover in order to protect the passengers. Stuart
secretly contacts Lang from prison with his tiny cell phone to let him know that Marcia has escaped surveillance and insists that Bailey Brown must be on the train or the plan fails. And this ultimately exposes him as the one who's actively been controlling the events this entire season.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
That's a choice.
Right. At Control, they identify the female hijacker, Jess, as Mona Hakimi, a former Special Forces medic. Olivia links her to Lang through a veterans bar and eventually a group photo, confirming prior connections between the two of them.
Mm.
Suspicion grows of an inside man, with Faber and Olivia concluding that the hijacking is orchestrated by ex-military mercenaries with internal police access. Obviously, that fits the description of Lang and the
Sure
group that he was
does.
with before. The train arrives at Britsud, and Sam begins releasing passengers one by one, while Bailey Brown is being brought to the yard under Lang's escort. Faber, while all this is happening, he's over at Bergmanstrasse, and he discovers the murdered officer, and through that confirms Lang's role as the inside man and escalates urgency at Control.
Mm-hmm.
Lang eventually boards the train alone with Bailey Brown, handcuffs him to one of the poles, and then shoots him in the leg during an argument as the situation kind of spins out of control.
Hey.
Sam confronts Lang on the train, and it's revealed that Bailey Brown was not responsible for Kai's death. Eventually, there's a standoff between Sam and Lang, but Sam signals to Otto to stop the train, which causes Lang to drop his detonator.
Mm-hmm.
Lang escapes and detonates the explosives from a distance, but eventually we see that Sam and Otto have survived. Meanwhile, at Control, they're only able to see that something's happened, but really they're uncertain of the fate of everybody until later on. Meanwhile, Marcia is still hiding from her neighbors, but eventually heads back to the cabin to start a signal fire when she spots rescue helicopters above.
Mm.
After that, she locks herself inside and kind of prepares to defend herself with an axe. The neighbors follow her to the cabin and break into it, but are interrupted when the rescue helicopter arrives just in time, shining a spotlight on them and ordering them to surrender, leaving Marcia finally safe.
Yay.
Then in prison, Stewart is overheard on a phone call with Lang, confirming that he orchestrated the entire hijacking to kill Sam and eliminate Bailey Brown in order to secure power over the Cheapside firm. Unbeknownst to him, he's being recorded while this is all happening, which gives Daniel and Zara definitive proof that Stewart is behind the plot. Sam eventually chases Lang onto a bridge where the police surround him and order Lang to surrender. He refuses to comply and reaches for his phone despite warnings from Sam, and is just shot and killed by police on sight. Stewart reacts violently in his cell when he finds out what happens through a news report on TV. When the officers come in to arrest him, he just kind of bolts at them, but he's immediately subdued and pinned to the ground. Meanwhile, Daniel walks in and confronts Stewart, telling him Sam and Marcia are alive and that Stewart has only destroyed his own family. On the train, hostages are all evacuated safely. We see them getting loaded onto a bus, and then Control restores normal operations, and the crisis officially ends.
Sweet.
Sam reunites with Olivia. She hands him his cell phone, and he sees Marcia's picture background with Kai.
Mm-hmm.
And then he decides to give her a call, and just kind of ends with them each confirming that they're both alive at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Fades out.
Okay.
So Ashley, what did you think?
So overall, I think the finale is a bit of a letdown. You know, There were things I liked, though, so I'll kind of go through it. But
Okay.
I was really hoping it would tie everything together in a more satisfying way.
Mm.
So first, I really liked the visual of everyone getting off the train.
Yeah.
So at this point, the train is above ground. It's like the widest open space it's been in a long time.
Yeah.
There's snow everywhere. It's nighttime. And there are these huge lights flashing around. I think they're like chase lights from the authorities.
Yeah.
And visually, it looks really cool, like a big cinematic moment. But also, to me, it kind of drove home that these people have been stuck underground for a really long time at a really stressful place. And now they're above ground. They can see the sky. It's just like a nice contrast. So I thought that was cool. I also liked seeing Faber come back. He's a character who annoyed me a bit in the beginning, but
Yeah, I agree.
he really grew on me, and I think I was, actually happy to see him show up and also have something to do. And honestly, he does a much better job than the cops on the scene. They're looking for a missing person. He goes down there and they're like, yeah, we've been searching everywhere. And he's like, do you try this door here?
Yeah,
And they're
right.
like, oh, no, we didn't open that door. And then there's the dead guy. Like, come on.
Yeah, it's funny.
And I loved the burn that Daniel gives Stewart at the end. So, Stewart's been revealed as the big bad, which I'll get to. And Daniel tells him, all you achieved was to destroy your family. And I was like, damn, that's a really good line.
Yeah.
But yeah, as I mentioned, the episode didn't quite do it for me. I didn't feel like a season finale. I mean, yes, technically they're tying up loose ends, but it didn't feel exciting. I didn't feel that kind of momentum building towards the final moment that you would hope for. And most importantly, I just didn't buy Stewart as the big bad.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, something about him just doesn't feel like a mastermind.
For sure.
He's not scary. He doesn't seem super smart.
Yeah.
And he didn't have any real position or, he wasn't at the top of the food chain in the previous season.
Yeah, I mean, he was like senior, but he wasn't like, he wasn't like a leader.
Yeah. And the show seems like, to me, they didn't set him up like someone who would have the resources or imagination to pull off something this complicated.
Totally.
Honestly, I kept wondering, why do they keep going back to this guy? Is he going to end up being a snitch in the end? Like, that's what I thought his role was. So to have him be the mastermind just didn't, I don't know. It didn't feel very plausible or exciting. Yeah. So, I mean, overall, the finale wasn't bad by any means, but it just kind of reinforced what I've been thinking all season, which is maybe there's not enough material in this idea to make a whole TV season, let alone 2 seasons. Maybe just make an Amazon movie if you can't make it just seemed a movie to me. So
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, what do you think?
I really wanted to enjoy the season finale more than I actually ended up enjoying it. I just found too many issues with it, and as a result, it kind of tainted the season for me a little bit. Because, like last week, I gave some few potential options that I pretty much accepted. One of them would kind of be close to what would end up happening, but they didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got none of those scenarios. I feel like attempting to wrap up each of the 3 interrelated plots, Sam's hijacking, what the hell Stewart's involvement in all this really is, and Marsha trying to escape her neighbors in a single episode was actually totally acceptable, given that we've already moved along past the point of typical suspension of disbelief by having a brand new hijacking involving the same person in the second season of a TV series named Hijack.
What
but
are
the way it was actually carried out over the season just felt messy and rushed.
Yeah.
Sure, 2 years is a long amount of time, I suppose, for someone who is in prison serving a life sentence for a plane hijacking. But, somehow being able to murder Kai and then also come up with a whole ass plan to force the guy we assume you blame the most for your plane hijacking failure into hijacking a train for you
so you can use him as a decoy to take over the criminal organization you work for?
Yeah,
Like-
you would think that would take like 10 years.
Like, why even bother to go through the trouble of getting Bailey Brown killed if he has the ability to get Lang, Jess, Otto, and Marco all on board? Something like this. Like, if you're able to manage all this from prison, you obviously have reasonable access to resources and you don't need to take over your old crime org. Like, especially given that the only remaining leader is also imprisoned. Like, are we supposed to believe that Stewart is somehow both smart enough to plan all these things, but also stupid enough to allow his emotions to drive him to choose the most convoluted way to check everything off of his revenge list instead of just adjusting his plan to minimize the potential for failure? Yeah, like, more importantly, why this bothered me was that the Cheapside firm wasn't successful with their plan to profit from the bear raid by shorting the Kingdom Airlines stock from the last season.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so like, how the hell does Stewart have all the resources to make this happen for prison, given that there's like no impression of him ever having this level of resources before that?
Yeah, it's a stretch.
Yeah, like the whole situation with Stewart eventually led me to realize what bothered me the most about this season was just the way Lang and Stewart are caught in the end. Because it's so uncharacteristically stupid for two characters the audience was led to believe were able to outsmart so many people otherwise. It's kind of unforgivable. Like, why the fuck would Lang get on a train when it'd be the most compromised place for him to be out of all of his potential options?
It
like,
is
if he
nuts.
just walks Bailey Brown to the train and has him go in alone, even if he just runs out after he handcuffs them, you know? His team can keep watch from outside to ensure the handover is successful instead of like going under a train where Sam would arguably have the upper hand over him. I don't know if there's more blame, like Stewart for being so obvious with this request to go outside to exercise after Daniel visits him, or the prison guard for not noticing how strangely soon after being visited the request for outdoor exercise was. Like, sure, I suppose, you know, whatever. I feel like even though it probably would have taken additional effort or maybe time, like the showrunners could have slightly evened out the reveals over the season instead of loading so many of them into the later episodes.
Yeah.
With that said, I only got like a few smaller nitpicks. One is I feel like Detective Beck's involvement in this season, like, really served no purpose aside from allowing the German police to have someone in the streets actually investigating the events leading up to the hijacking. And then my other thing is, do British prisons really have a sensor block over the toilet area for their in-cell security cameras? Like, why? Like, you'd think security outweighs personal privacy, especially for a convicted criminal.
Yeah, I was wondering what that was.
Yeah, sorry, but for me, it was just too convenient of a thing to allow Stewart to use his tiny cell phone last minute inside his like
I
cell.
know.
Oh, no.
And also, you'd think he would use code of some kind. Because you would imagine
he's just
being
like
in
out in the
prison,
open.
even if he doesn't know that he's being recorded, which, man, you got to know you're being recorded.
Yeah,
But people could
exactly.
overhear him. You have to be more savvy than that. And this guy is not savvy, and that's why he doesn't make sense.
Yeah, he
as
just
this
doesn't fit it for
villain. Yeah. Dang.
But yeah, with all that said, like, I feel like what saved the season finale and series overall from being a total disaster of the season has really been the acting.
Yeah.
Out of all the characters this season, I really have come around to liking Otto.
Hell yeah.
I know the last episode I mentioned that maybe there was something fishy with him, given that the show didn't ever revisit the fact that he was being paid for his involvement in the hijacking. But this episode, he made sure to reiterate that he wasn't forced to be a part of it, reminding us that this was supposed to be a payday for him. Sam's character is still as capable as he was in the first season.
It's awesome.
But the added layer of PTSD affecting his decision-making was appreciated, I think.
Yeah.
Since we'd reasonably assume that dealing with his son's death and then being forced into hijacking to ensure Marsha's safety isn't going to provide him with the best situation for mental clarity.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the evolution of Marsha's character over the season, but at the same time, I also kind of felt like I would have appreciated more screen time for her storyline.
Yeah, I like her a lot.
Yeah, because it felt like all the scenes involving her combined probably only add up to like the length of maybe an episode, if even that.
Yeah.
I thought she made an interesting and believable side plot, but I also feel like it would have been stronger overall if there's just more time spent on it. While I initially downplayed the involvement and importance of some of the characters that mostly are operating on the control center throughout the season, I have to admit that I feel much different about them at the end of the season, given that they did all play some kind of role, even it was only to add some emotion and humanity to situations that otherwise, would beg to be dealt with as strategically as possible. Clara Berger can finally go home after a long ass day too.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you, I love Daniel's final words before walking away from Stewart,
Right.
who just screams that he's going to kill him. Sure, bro.
Like, all right, whatever.
Right after you take over the cheap side for and plan your escape, right?
Yeah. Do you know how much work you did for him to not die?
Yeah, that might be a problem now anyway. But yeah, if they do greenlight a third season for the show, I absolutely do not want Stewart to have anything to do with it.
No, Stewart.
Yeah, at this point, I feel like even if unintentionally, Sam has negatively impacted the lives of some other people, the worst potentially being the others on the Special Forces team that Lang and Jess were on, because now they're both dead.
Yeah.
But if season 3 actually does happen, I'd actually be more okay if they just come up with a brand new story that isn't in any way connected to the antagonist or their co-conspirators from previous seasons. So I think it's a good break at the end, the way that they end the season. It would be okay for them to do a completely new one. They would just have to really think about how to make it stronger this time around, especially because you'd be on a third season and fortunately would be operating from a new space as far as the characters go, aside from Sam. Or you could do the thing that True Detective does and just bring another guy in who knows how to negotiate with people over hijacking and stuff.
You know what I could see happening? What would be kind of fun? It would probably end up having a different tone. But if in the next season, he's a guy who has a firm that, like how people are negotiators, he is the hijacking dude. He's a hijacking negotiator for hire, Then you could do shorter stories. You could do longer stories.
Yeah.
It could have, I think that could be interesting.
Okay.
That's for free. Take it, producers, and make it more interesting next year.
All right. But that's Hijack.
Hijack.
So yeah, that's the end of the season. I think we are planning to follow this up with Daredevil.
Ooh.
Born Again.
Yes.
The return season.
Born Again, because it's the second
Born Again,
one,
because it's the second season of Born Again. So yeah, just look out for that later in the month.
All right.
Ashley, what are we seeing next?
Ooh, well, what we're seeing next movie-wise is Hoppers. I'm very excited for that one. And Protector, and perhaps Pillion, if we have time for it, since we're down one TV show again. But if not, we'll just keep kicking that can down the road.
Hey, which movie is Protector?
Protector is the movie where Mila Jovovich is like holding up one hand like she's going to punch someone, and she's making a scrunched up face.
Oh, right. Yeah, we keep doing the pose for the poster.
Yeah,
over and over.
it is.
Whenever we see it, we try to recreate the pose.
Yeah, it's not the Tony Jaa movie of the same name, which I think is that an elephant one?
Yeah, I think so. Well, it's one of the elephant ones. I think there's more than one elephant Tony Jaa movie. But I think what's funny about Protector, though, is that same shot can be found in the trailer if you pause it at the time.
Hell yeah. They got to utilize existing content.
Exactly.
Then for TV next week, we're going to be continuing on with Monarch Legacy of Monsters, or Munsters, as my brother used to call them.
Oh my God. But yeah, we'll also be continuing with week 2 of Leprechaun-A-Thon. And we'll be covering Leprechaun 3 and Leprechaun 4, in space.
Oh my God.
Not a colon in space, but it's the punctuation colon in space. That's how Ashley likes
read those things. So I'm just trying to read it in an Ashley way.
Thank you. Colons just strike me as funny.
Yeah,
So,
they are.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to us talk about colons and movies and leprechauns. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen, and we hope you're doing excellent.
Yeah, and make sure to subscribe, rate, and review, preferably positively. You want to be on my good side? No,
oh my God.
But yeah, follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all them socials. Besides that, just thank you and stuff.
Yay.
Yeah, we'll catch you guys next week.
Bye.
Later.
Friendships touch. Movies and delights will share so much. Let's enjoy this side.